there are probably two main points. The first is I haven't been a Christian for over 15 years. And after my big crisis in my life, my husband left me, I, that evening, called out to God. And then about a year or so later, after tentatively going to church, speaking to a few people, I was doing some Bible study with Julianne Heath, who is the workplace chaplain, and she suddenly stopped me and said, I'm going to tell you something. And I knew at that instant that she was going to tell me that I was going to become a vicar. And she did. So that was the second major point in my journey towards ordination.
Well, I was a student of divinity up in Edinburgh at New College, and while I was there, I trained with people who were from the Church of Scotland, and a lot of them kept thinking I was also training for the Church of Scotland, and at first I kind of vigorously denied this as well. And then, so after telling my wife this, just as a kind of funny story as to why people kept asking this, she said, oh, well, you know, maybe this should be something that you're thinking about. So I did start to talk to my priest at the time, and was amazed that, you know, he didn't kind of laugh in my face, but said, okay, you know, let's kind of go forward with this.
It was really very much a gentle and persistent call over many years that at first I resisted. And it was when I then felt called to go and work within a Fresh Expression on the housing estate where I live that the questions really rose for me of, well, what are you doing? You know, shouldn't you just push this door and see what happens? And that's what I did. And one of the confusions at the time was really that I just didn't see myself as being a traditional vicar. I'm still not sure I do, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that works out within my calling.
My calling was spotted in me way before I did by other people, and I was kind of persuaded, not quite kicking and screaming, but almost kicking and screaming, that it was a good idea. And I've come to realise that the calling that they saw in me is genuine, it's real, and God is genuinely calling me to ordained ministry.
So I started following Jesus at university as a student, and then thought no more about it really. I went and was a school teacher, but as I got more and more involved in the local church, working with young people, I really enjoyed it for a start, but also could see that God was at work, that what I was doing was incompetent and weak in many ways, that God gloriously was working through it. And so I thought, well, maybe I should think about doing this more.
It began as a child, didn't realise it at the time. Had a group of nuns came in and spoke to us in our Good Friday liturgy. And it just started there. And it's only on reflection that I realised that was where the call to follow God came from. So yes, I had been running away. God kept knocking and knocking and knocking. And it just got to the stage where I'd got to go and explore that and say, okay, God, this is what you want. This is what I think you're saying to me. Okay, let's go and find out. Let's go and see whether that's really what it is you wanted.
Well, it's something I've been running away from for probably about 10 years. I was a research scientist, and that was what I felt was my vocation. And actually, I think it started probably at a Casio weekend and then staffing at them, where I was just blown away by seeing the love of God in action. And gradually God transformed me over the years. I became more interested in people and relationships and test tubes. I got married, I had children, and as my life changed, so did my priorities. And then eventually every obstacle that I put in the way, it's like, well, it's financially going to be difficult with children and so forth. Everything God took away. And then there was just no excuse for me not to explore it. And so I did, and this is where I landed up.
When I was at university and just afterwards, I suddenly started, when I was in church, thinking, this is amazing and I really want to get more involved, I want to know more and do more. And that was a really gradual and gentle momentum process. God was very kind to me and didn't freak me out with this lightning bolt. And the call to ordination came finally in a big church in Teze. And it was a confirmation that what I wanted to do, what I was called to do, was spread the word about the love of God as I had understood it.
I think it's the biggest and scariest thing you can possibly ever do, but also my experience has been it's been the most exciting, most wonderful and most life-changing thing you could ever do. And if you think you're being called to that, then I would grasp it with both hands.
I would say that the best thing to do is to have a placement. I think a placement kind of sets you up for what real parish ministry is like.
Pray. And actually, a really good bit for me was trusting the process and being able to let go and trust those people around me, many of whom could see that calling before I did.
I'd say just because you don't see it in yourself, if other people are seeing it in you, it's just as likely to be right.
I'd say go and try it out, go and do as much work as you can, teaching the Bible, talking to people, sharing your faith, and just see how much you enjoy it. And if you're really enjoying it and God's at work, go ahead and just grasp the opportunity with both hands.
Don't run away. It's not worth it. I've tried running. I've done all sorts of things. Just, if you feel that's where you're called, just go and explore it.
Explore it. Talk to other people and see what they say and see if they see something in you that you may not have seen for yourself. Because I think that was what was most important for me, was others saying, yes, we can absolutely see you doing that.
Explore, ask questions, listen, and enjoy it. It's a wonderful, wonderful process. However and wherever it leads, it will be good. And don't be afraid to lead where it goes.